Scorpio, so the last 2 years have been like a great big jigsaw puzzle with lots and lots of pieces. And you were asked to put all the pieces together to try to make sense of something that has been puzzling you completely. But this month, you're going to finally start putting the last few pieces of that puzzle together so you can sit back and see the bigger picture and then maybe radically transform and change because of what you suddenly now see. Why? Well, let's begin. Scorpio, welcome to the December readings for Scorpio, Sun, Moon and Ascendants. There's a lot going on this month and also next month and really all the way into 2020. But let's get stuck into it. What's happening? There is a huge amount of energy this month going into your third house where Capricorn is. You've the usual contenders in there. You've got Saturn, your ruler Pluto in there. This month we've also got Jupiter moving in there, the great expander, the one that finally allows you to see the bigger picture of something. We've got Venus in there for a little while, Mercury is in there for a little while, and we have a new moon solar eclipse in there on December 26th, giving you some great big illumination. You've all the facts. You've all the things figured out now. You've heard something. You've seen something. Once it's heard, it can't be unheard. Once it's seen, it can't be bloody unseen. And now when you step back and look at how you've solved the puzzle, all the energy this month is now saying, time for change, my love, time for change. You didn't quite grasp what was going on before, but now you do. And time to move into something far more positive, particularly Scorpio, to do with how you communicate and relate to people. Say, for example, if with all the energy in the third house, if you'd have had some issues dealing with brothers, sisters, or people that, like clients or people that you casually speak to from time to time, any issues that you had going on there could be a real moment this month where, again, you get this last piece of the puzzle. It's a piece of news, a piece of information. And it's like that real penny drop moment where you go, okay. All those pieces of information create a bigger picture, which are now going to allow me to transform how I communicate with brothers, sisters, relatives, people that I just randomly meet, people that I speak to on social media. I'm not maybe getting pulled and dragged into other people's dramas, even though this month with the full moon in the 8th house, there's almost like a last test. Well, have you passed the test, Scorpio? Because other people might be going through a crisis. Other people might be going through a bit of a drama. And are you going to go in and inflame that, add to it? Or are you going to see this bigger picture now that you've all the pieces together? And are you going to say, this is nothing to do with me. This is not my baby. This is out of my hands. From now on, with the new moon and all the energy there, I'm focusing on communicating my dreams, speaking my future into existence, speaking my dreams, wishes, hopes for my future into existence. I'm using my voice, my communication, my ability to put all the pieces together of people, is particularly if people have been puzzling you, like the big people puzzle. All the pieces are starting to come together and people aren't so mysterious in some way anymore to you. And you're saying, again, now that I've seen this, I'm free not to have to react. I'm free not to get drawn in. I'm free not to be kind of goaded into some sort of response. Now I've more confidence. Now I'm building my future based on using the power and the maybe even influence that I didn't even realize I had to speak in a clearer way, to speak in a better way, to speak truthfully. Now, you are always somebody who values speaking truth, Scorpio, but now it's like, well, no, let's really stand up for this. Let's really, anytime somebody is trying to cast a little bit of shade on something, let's just call it out. Let's just say it how it is. And also, Scorpio, a thing that might be very new to you because you're a very private person. You like to keep your thoughts to yourself and figure them out in your own time, shape them up and solve these puzzles in private. There might be a real renaissance here, Scorpio, where you start stepping out a bit and say, listen, this is what I'm thinking. Does this match what's going on? Is this factual? Is this true? Is this, I'm not going to sit and harbor anything anymore. I'm going to start kind of putting it out there. Am I right to think this? Am I kind of gone off course to think this or to, so you're getting now into a kind of a momentum where you want to start putting your thoughts out there. Now, this could be a great time for those of you who are thinking of using that in the most positive way, like getting into teaching, getting into the art of debate, getting into sales, marketing, getting clients to buy your products and so on like that. Certainly working better with people, kind of communicating more freely, not kind of going into the office and just keeping yourself to yourself, but because everything is so above board now and fact-based, there's no room for any shadow or weirdness to come in. It's almost like a great awakening in how you can kind of move better within your environment without always anticipating somebody bringing you some puzzle that you must solve. Now, on a very positive level, again, because it is very positive, there is this energy of maybe going into the type of work that involves solving something. You know, a client has a problem, you can bring solutions. It's a great time if some of you are thinking of going into journalism, using that brilliant Scorpio energy to dive deep into the truth, root out the facts and print it. So there's a feeling of this stuff that I've discovered can all be used for the better, can all be used for the positive. So again, I'm just going back to that thing, Scorpio. I feel this month there could be a real moment where something can be turned around and brought into a positive light once it's all based on fact. Again, it's like removing some mystery out of something. Say, for example, you have a bunch of people around you and they do that whole he said, she said, coming up to the holiday season, if you're going to be with certain family members who are all a little bit cliquey, or in Ireland we say clannish, that they all kind of gather together and you talk about people. There's a feeling of, I am not getting involved in this. This is where I'm turning over a new leaf. And I'm not going to kind of necessarily move away from them and say, oh, you're toxic, but more like say, listen, let's talk about something else. It's like taking control of a conversation, taking control of a narrative, going in and using your humor to disperse all those little negative flying monkeys and say, let's play instead, let's talk better to each other instead, let's talk about the weather, anything rather than shady shit. So it's a level of handling it and having the control to redirect a narrative, to redirect your skills, Scorpio. Actually, the third house has a lot to do with skills, you know, hand-eye coordination, maybe getting in now saying, right, for 2020, I'm going to learn a new language. I'm going to upgrade my skills. I'm going to learn how to use social media properly. I'm going to learn how to use analytics. Yeah, you know, going into the back end of information and seeing, well, what are people buying? Are they interested in this? And trying to diagnose how you can make something better in some cases through the use of facts, analytics, and to optimize something that you're doing in your life. But again, trade, skill, starting new classes for 2020, that's what I feel, and certainly brushing up your skills. Many of you really wanting to brush up business skills, wanting with the third house to get some sort of trade going on, the buying and selling of something on Etsy, on Amazon, eBay, through e-commerce or your local community. It's like, let's start building a network where I can feel like something's moving and I'm directing it. So again, it's really super positive because we've Venus in there, the one who gets a great sense of pleasure from doing this, chatting to people, if you're very, very quiet, Scorpio, and if you're very reserved and you're often very uncomfortable with just striking up a conversation with somebody, start doing it. Let that be your new 2020, resolution. I'm just going to start chatting freely with people. I don't have to go in and tell them anything personal about me, but I'm going to brush up my skill of, hi, how are you doing? How are the kids? How's the weather? Nice to meet you. Talk to you later. Bye. That thing of keeping it fresh, keeping it moving, keeping it now and relevant. It's all good. So Venus is getting a great sense of pleasure from that, but Venus also loves money. And Venus is saying, start getting creative with your money here. A lot of you could be entering 2020 believing that you're really going to make it now through communication, through social media, through buying, selling, marketing, analyzing, analytics. Why do I find that so hard to say? Deep research into what makes people buy things and so on like that. This is or journalism. This could be a new course for many of you to make a lot of money from. As this card hopped out, making new coin with something that it just comes very naturally to you. But it comes naturally to you, but yet it's a skill that needs further development. And that's where we're at. You've something that you're good at, but it needs to be brought up to date. It needs to be brought smack up to 2020. You need to be relevant now. So upgrading your skills. I'll say this for some of you too. Coming to the end of the year, there might be a thing where you're going to a lot of new interviews, networking, meeting people, and that could be a great thing. New opportunities to get out there and sell yourself, promote yourself in new ways, maybe through social media, updating your profile. And again, some of you might find that coming to the end of 2019, you might be asked to do, that thing that's called re-interviews, where to renew your work contract for 2020, you have to go back and sit in and sell yourself again to be re-employed for next year's contract. If that's the case for you, Scorpio, really get relevant. Use the time at the very start of the month to get so up to date, get all your information together, your facts, but being so personable and relatable when you sit in for this audition, interview, meeting. It's like you don't belong to the last decade anymore. You're right smack up to date now. Very, very much so. And I like that, Scorpio. Now, Venus is then moving on December 20th into your 4th house. So from the 20th onward, Venus wants to have more pleasure, play, hanging out with family and friends at home. It's going to be very nice for those of you celebrating this holiday season. It's a good vibe, a good energy just to be at home and enjoying and maybe spoiling family. I have to say that there's a feeling of this month having at the start of the month a real splurge. I need to buy that, I need to buy that. A lot of gifts you'll be buying people might be funny gifts, personalized kind of gifts, or like a bit of this and a bit of that. Like you'll be giving like a big gift that has lots of gadgets and things in it, lots of technology. I feel lots of you will be either buying new technological things or gimmicky, gadgety things for the people you love, or that's exactly, sorry to ruin the surprise, that's what you could be receiving this holiday season as a gift, But money then going into the home, getting it right, maybe doing some last minute DIYs or repairs in the home, and really splurging on good food, good wine, good everything, making sure that everything is just perfect and you've spent all the right amount of money on all the decorations and everything. And it's just, Scorpio, it's just really nice. I love the energy. Now we have the big full moon in Gemini. This is where it gets like the kind of moment of truth. Have you really learned anything from the last 2 years? Are you really going to be drawn in and provoked by somebody who seems to be so out of control, going through a bit of a thing, going through a crisis? That moment where you watch a soap opera and it comes to the crescendo, it's like da da da, and then there's a moment where you may have once reacted by maybe either jumping in to fix everything yourself or jumping in to go on the attack and add fuel to the fire. So this might come around again, Scorpio. What are you going to do? Are you going to follow all this new and brilliant, bright energy and just watch this and say, I see all the pieces of the puzzle are coming together now. This was a habit. This was a behavior. This is how they triggered me. This is how they provoked me. And this is how I used to respond. This is where I used to start throwing my 2 cents in. I have the bigger picture now because of all the last pieces of the puzzle. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I'm just spending this holiday season enjoying myself and getting geared up for 2020, where I'm about to broaden my mind in a big way and broaden my mind in kind of small little detailed ways. I'm just going to do it. They're not worth my effort. The drama is not worth my effort. Repeat, the drama is not worth my effort. And I'll say this again as the Scorpio Pluto card comes out here. Beside this card, there's a new way of handling these situations. A new way of separating fact from drama, fact from fuckery. Let's call it that. My new 2020 resolution is to see fact or fuckery. And you go with the fact. And that is where you gain, my love. That is where you kind of say, I've got all these last pictures, the last pieces of the people puzzle together. And I'm going to just get ahead. You've got the last pieces of all the puzzles coming together now. This month, next month, 2020. And that's how you move ahead. So it's all really nice. I like that. I like it a lot. Yeah. Communication might be good at the start of the month between you and your partner. For those of you in a relationship, you might be able to help solve. Now, not go in and fix, Scorpio, but help solve, come up with some new brainstorming ideas for your partner or somebody very, very close to you. It's like your mind is switched on. What if we do this? What if we do that? What if we try that? What if you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And you might be scouring the internet to maybe help something with your partner. Maybe it's a business they're doing or a project. And it's like, I can do that. I'm really good. I'm plugged in and switched on to finding solutions. And then, presenting the tray of solutions and say, take your pick. I'm not going to fix this for you, but I will kind of upgrade myself a little bit, not get so involved, but give you a choice of options and say, it's up to you. Door number 1, 2, or 3, you take your choice. After that, I don't care, So it's very like that. Now, you have Mars. I'm still waiting on a few cards here, Scorpio. You have Mars in Scorpio in the first house. Making you communicate with Mercury in there for a while. Mercury is in there until December the 9th. Mars is in there for the entire month. This feeling of getting sparked up, infused with energy, fired up to start. It's like to start over. This is the new, impassioned, lit up Scorpio. I'm lit up. I'm just not being kind of lit up like somebody stoking a fire in me to go in and go all angry about something. I'm redirecting my passions in a far healthier way. Now that was strong. With Mars in the first house, it's like, okay, Mars, I'm going to use your ambitious energy, your strategic energy, and your impassioned energy to put it more into myself. And the projects that I'm planning now for 2020, this is really about me. I will still help in some way, bring solutions to the people I love and care about, but really the big passion, the big energy, the big kind of atomic kind of powerhouse is going into me this time round. That's different for me. That's a big change for me because I do tend to think about other people a lot and consider other people when I'm doing things, but I'm finding a newer, healthier way to strategize and use my energies where I'm not so vampired by other people and drained by their energy. Yeah, so that's a huge turn up for the books in Sagittarius season, where the sun is in your second house, of gaining more confidence, more control, more self-respect, more value on yourself, and in some cases handling your money a little bit better too. Some of you could have been quite as we enter the month, and maybe through most of the month, feeling like that you're getting a little bit luckier financially in some way. Now, is it that you win the lottery? I don't know, but it's more like a feeling of, I value my money more. It's working for me more. Maybe I feel a little bit blessed by kind of being able to afford certain things I didn't think I could afford before. So that's the vibe there. So Scorpio, let's get, as we've 3 cards coming out. Yeah. Oop, this one leaping and jumping. The moon. Yes, the moon is testing you this month. Are you going to fall into the drama, or are you going to have a success? And this for me feels like it's going to be a success. Scorpio, finally, after 20 odd minutes, whatever, we are now going to your big grand, ta-da, the overview. Let's begin, my love. So we enter the month with you being very strategic, handling something with a great sense of care. There's a feeling of tiptoeing around something because you're not quite confident yet as we go into the month. It could be with a new project, even a new relationship, or certainly a new way of handling people who have been a bit of a puzzle to you, or people that you kind of really have to tiptoe around because you don't want to be drawing them upon you. You know, that kind of way. So you're handling something with great care and delicacy and tact to avoid what could be a bit of a mess, I feel, or a drama in some way. And you're doing a great job of it. And at least right from the start of the month, you're saying, I'm using my brain here. I'm using my wits. And I'm not getting drawn into something. And this in turn gives you more energy to communicate. It's a communication thing. For me, again, it's that thing. I'm not being drawn into something. I'm handling this delicately. If these people are coming to me for the holiday season, I'm going to handle this with great kind of, let's keep it all about the facts. Let's not go there and talk about that thing again, or let's not bring up that subject again. Let's not get into a debate about that thing that you kind of drive me nuts about again. You're not being drawn into it. Instead, you're using your strong communicative energy to be cleaner, neater, tidier. It's a feeling of cleaning up communication, and you're driving this. You're having more power. And you're saying, this is going to pay off for me. I know it's going to pay off for me to have a plan if certain people are coming to me for the holiday season, to really sit down with a pen and paper, like really, and say, okay, tricky bitch is coming for a Christmas lunch. How am I actually going to cope with this? What are my tools? What way can I strategize this, that if they talk about this, and this, how do I kind of either disappear away from that or turn the conversation to something else? How do I keep it light? How do I include games? Maybe start throwing out the board games or the kind of video games to keep everything on a kind of more somewhat superficial level so they don't go there. So a real plan, a real actual pen and paper plan, Scorpio, from the very beginning of the month. How do I deal with them? And if this happens, how do I respond? It's a kind of a positive speaking it into existence. Again, 3rd house, and with the sun in the 2nd house, speak it. Speak success into existence. Write it into existence. Visualize it. Say, this is how I'm going to react to this. And the success that comes from that. Again, the feeling of I'm analyzing. There's something you seem to have your mind very much on, Scorpio, very, very much. Some of you are doing some real analysis of your life coming to the end of this year. It's like, I am really leaving this whole decade behind, and I'm really going to look back. You know, at the end of the year, you have those TV shows where it's like a throwback, you know, let's revisit what happened over the last year or the last decade. This is you. It's like a movie in your mind this month of, well, let's review the last year and see what happened. And What have I learned? How have I grown? What plans have I now put into place that I don't fall into some of the pitfalls there anymore? To do with your work, your career, your business. Am I going to be a pushover? Am I going to give 100% to people who don't value my time and effort? Am I going to get drawn into weird debates or strange exchanges of energy anymore? No, I'm not. Because I'm getting a plan. For 2020, Scorpio has a plan, and it could be a business plan, a plan to learn a new skill, and a plan to do something that you seem to be more passionate about. Say, maybe Mars in the first house is driving this. I'm starting from the ground up. I'm rebuilding something. I'm rebuilding myself. I'm rebuilding my self-confidence. And certainly, I'm almost like relearning how to speak, how to sell, how to convince, how to motivate myself, and how to understand that sometimes I've unraveled a lot of my great happiness because I got too involved at times with trying to solve other people's problems. Now it's time for me to start over and manifest, make it a reality, how I can start solving my own life puzzles and make something from it, make coin from it. Solving puzzles, solving crimes, solving problems, bringing solutions to people, solving what people can't see. You can see it. That could be a new business. Teaching, solving, discovering, seeing what other people aren't seeing. It's very, very strong. Very strong. Virgo might be a positive influence for you in helping you with this. Virgo does have that energy. They're good at analyzing. They're good at spotting things too. Maybe having chats or working with Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant the two of you might be able to come up with, it's like you're being able to kind of ping pong against each other, where there's something, yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I should do that. You're right. Kind of a lot of that energy happening. Now, moving mid-month, your ruler, Pluto, Scorpio card, moving towards the Queen of Cups, moving towards love, moving towards peace, moving towards wanting to spend happy times at home. Yeah, and maybe even seeing a bigger picture at home. I do feel certain family members, you're going to obviously, around the holiday season, be spending time around them. And you're riding in there with your big Pluto energy on your white steed saying, here comes the Scorpio, here comes Scorpio and the truth, stand back. But doing it with a great sense of care and love. There's a feeling of, I want to redirect how we communicate with each other, because we really do love each other. We just don't always get on with each other. But if I focus on communicating just from a loving place, that's it, and make that a fact, then it seems like I have the influence or the magic to steer the energy. That's 3 times now that's come up here, Scorpio, in the imagery I'm picking up. You don't realize how much weight or how much power that you have when you speak. It's like, speak it into existence. If somebody's behaving oddly, or they're being very harsh or severe or weird or restrictive or difficult, bring the flow. Speak it in. Say, no, we're redirecting this now. We are going to go and play a family game to just change the atmosphere, just like that. And that is a big superpower that's really opening up for you now this month, Scorpio, and for the rest of 2020. Recognizing that the weight of what you say and the weight of what you even don't say can have a great effect on the people around you. Yeah, mid-month. This is like Mars and Pisces energy, your feelings getting triggered and feeling like this is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work. and I just don't feel like it's worth trying anymore. I don't feel like it's worth the effort when people are always triggering me emotionally. Why invite them to my house? Why invite them to my party? Why meet them? Why hook up with them, meet them for coffee? Why get involved with them? Why be part of something with them when I know that they're going to trigger me in some way? Is it worth the effort? Maybe it's worth a shift in perspective, which is what a lot of the energy is here. Put all the pieces down on the table. It's almost like the whole energy is like, take it out of ruminating the vibe in your mind and actually put it flat out on a table. Write it out and say, what's the reality of this? How do they have the power to trigger me? Why do I feel weird when I kind of get a bit claustrophobic maybe with groups of people or doing the whole small talk thing? Why does that freak me out so much? I'd much rather be in a corner talking about, well, you know, did you kind of see that big crime show that was on last night? Or did you read that book? Or, you know, did you see spirits? Or whatever it is, I'm only using that as an example. It seems you prefer to get into the small conversations with serious-minded people. Now it's no, come on, be bubbly, be light, and get over this fear, Scorpio, of the random chit-chat and enjoying it. You see, there's the difference. Start enjoying the kind of teasing, the kind of jokes, the chit-chat, the kind of catching up with people. I know that's difficult sometimes. But there's something in it, Scorpio, if you can keep it all light and fizzy and not going into any deep corners of other people's psyche, not probing them. You know, just keep it light and you'll be fine. And certainly not feeling like they're trying to probe you. It's like, I'm redirecting this conversation. Let's talk about these nice kind of Christmas decorations going on here. Just keep it light and you'll do great. Excuse me, Scorpio. Coming towards the end of the month, I feel something has been offered to you towards the end of the month. I'm just looking down here, an offer to make money, but I get the feeling that you need a lot of time to think about this offer because there's a part of it where you're not sure if this is a money maker or if this is going anywhere. A feeling of a contract or an offer that it's like, do I really want this? For me, it's like an offer or a contract that asks you to work in an unusual way, like to work only at night or to work half at home, half in an office, half here, half there. There's something unusual about it. Like your office is going to be in a strange place and you need a bit of time, I feel, Scorpio, before you can say you want to do this or not. So I think you're wise to take that time out when an offer comes in, because I think there's something you're sensing. Like, here's an example of what it could be. Like somebody coming in with a great offer to start something, start a project, or to go into a money-making thing, contract thing, and it looks wonderful. But there's something in your mind that says, this is too good to be true. I need to investigate a little bit further. How can they be offering me this when I heard on the grapevine that their business isn't going so well? I'd hate to have to sign a contract with somebody only then to realize that it's going into redundancy or receivership or something like that. There is a little bit more digging that needs to be done before you can feel like you can make a decision on this. Something feels off about an offer. Now, is it off? Is it wrong? That's for you to decide, Scorpio. What's being triggered here is a feeling of trust your gut, trust your instinct. If something unusual change in your work environment or money situation is happening, sit back and say, I need to probe this a little bit further. What lies beneath this offer? And maybe you could find out that it's wonderful And maybe you could choose that. But coming to the end of the month, Scorpio, here we go. Here we go. The last test. I've picked up on this with the other signs too. It's a feeling of, well, let's see, have you learned anything from the last 2 years? The other signs are all getting it with this full moon too. What is your quick reaction? Full moon in Gemini, a quick reaction, your immediate thoughts, your first words, first impression, say it out there. Don't linger on it too long. Just say, well, this is what I see and this is what's happening. So it's a very quick response, being triggered by something emotional, full moon. What is your first response? Is your first response now a more mature response? Is it something that's a more winning response? Once it's seen, once it's heard, are you going to get all thrown into a tailspin again, or are you going to say, I've conquered this? You're not going to fool us, Scorpio. If there's a lesson to be learned, if somebody's trying to pull a trick on me, if somebody's trying to call me out or catch me out, sorry, bitch, it's not going to happen. What have I learned over the last 2 years? I've learned that I'm not going to get caught out, but I've also learned to not be so provoked all the time into rushing in, as I said earlier, to fix something on behalf of somebody, or rushing in with your 2 cents. And there, my love, is where you get your success. There's where you get your big success. Big success. And it's the energy of, well, I'm more proud of myself now. I'm proud of who I'm presenting out there in the world. I'm proud that I can honestly, genuinely, with a full hand on heart, say that my first response now is a response that I'm proud of. I'm impressed with how I'm standing up and handling situations like a mature Scorpio, like a feeling like I've grown beyond all of this. I've grown beyond all of this. And I will say this, just to turn it around here too, for some of you in business or in competition, where you make money, where you're trading, anything like that, there's a feeling of something getting revealed around the time of the full moon, between, say, the 8th and the 12th, that it's like it gets revealed, you discover it, but based on what you've discovered or what was disclosed, using that information for your own benefit. Now that sounds all a bit like something shady. It's not really, Scorpio. How it seems to play out is, I've dug deep, I've discovered something. How can I benefit from this? Again, it's not done in such a way where you're benefiting off somebody's loss or hardship or crisis or misfortune. Not like that, but more like benefiting from a piece of information that maybe not other people are aware of yet. And you're able to go in and make a success because maybe you were the first one to hear news on the grapevine of an opportunity. And you're saying, I'm jumping on that. I'm going to have that. But Scorpio, it's a great, great moment where you get that last moment of triumph, I feel, where you get that moment of saying, I really have grown beyond everything that used to trigger me now. Now it's just time for me to develop myself, to develop my life and speak the great things I want into existence from now onwards. And it will, and so it shall be, Scorpio. So my love, I'm going to leave it at that. Now, as always, you know, these are just the general energies going on for this month. To get into the real research, the real diving deep, where do we go, Scorpio? You know by now. You come to the VIMEO readings, the deep read, where we go deeper into relationships, love for the singles, money, career, family, friends, everything that we just don't go deep enough with here. We go further in the deep read. So in the description box there, you'll see a link. Click into it, Scorpio. Come on over. I'll meet you over there. But if not, my love, I'm going to leave you with a great happy holidays. And as always, my gorgeous, a lot of love from me to you and a great, great, great big kiss. Until the next decade, my gorgeous. Bye. Mwah.